We're here for the special financial plan public hearing, 2024 financial plan. My understanding is enough open meeting or anything, so we're just going to turn it right over to our CEO and CFO for the afternoon. Take it away.
Thank you and good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council, RM administration, ratepayers of the RM of Richot, and anybody else that may be online at this moment. My name is Mitch DeVell and I'm the CAO for the RM of Richot. Presenting the introductory portion of the financial plan, and after that I will close the financial plan as well. But in the middle, the main guy will be our CFO, Mohammed Zaman, who will do the presentation of the numbers. So we appreciate taking time out of your busy schedule to either be with us or watch us at a later date. So we changed up a few slides here. Just wanted to go in through a few things to give an overview of what the RM of Richot is for those that may be new to the municipality. So the RM of Richot is a rural municipality which belongs in the Winnipeg Capital Region, bordering the south side of Winnipeg, Manitoba. Our population, as per our 2021 census, is about 7,469 people on approximately 2,769 dwellings. So a lot of people may not know the number of dwellings we have, and the land mass is about 333 square kilometers. The communities that comprise the RM of Richot, the following are the main ones: Ile-des-Chênes, Saint-Adolphe, Saint-Agathe, and Grande Pointe. No particular order. We also have the hamlet of Howden and the hamlet of Glenlee. The government structure for the RM of Richot, we're basically mandated to provide social, economic, mental, recreational programs, transportation services, protective services, public health, utilities, and other services for our residents. The municipality consists of two branches, one being the legislative branch, which is the RM Council, and I will introduce them, as well as the administrative branch led by myself. The RM Council consists of a mayor and 4 councillors elected through a ward system to serve a 4-year term to govern in accordance to the powers granted to municipalities under the Municipal Act. So council provides a strategic direction to the administration through bylaws, policies, and resolutions. So for that, we have the Mayor, Chris Ewan, Ward 1, Councillor Shane Pelche, who is for the Ile-des-Chênes area, Ward 2, Saint-Adolphe area, by Councillor Jason Bodnarchuk. Ward 3 area for the Saint-Agathe area is Councillor Joël Lemoine. And Ward 4 for the Grande Pointe, Howden, and Grande Pointe area is Councillor Janine Belanger. Again, I'm Mitch DeVell, and I'm the on the administration side of things. And I will now turn it over to Mohammed Zaman, who will do the rest of the presentation for the budget.
Thank you, Mitch. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council, RM administration and staff members, ratepayers, and any media on the line. My name is Mohammed Zaman. I'm CFO for RM of Richot, and I will be presenting the rest of the 2024 financial plan presentation. So let's move on the agenda. So here is our agenda for the presentation. We will be discussing 5 topics. Each time this slide roll around the highlighted red bar is the topic of presentation. That item will only be stated. Our first item on the agenda is corporate budgeting, objectives, and planning process. So a budget is developed and approved annually to finance the delivery of programs and services to the community according to council-approved service levels. Preparation of the corporate budget is one of the most critical initiatives undertaken by administration, as it acts as the fiscal plan that the resources required to make progress towards achieving the community vision and the council priorities. Administration uses council's approved services and service levels, strategic directions, and priorities as the foundation on which to build the annual operating and capital budgeting. Administration establishes the budget with a strong understanding of its impact on future years and the ability to fund those impacts. The RM of RESHOT budget is divided into two reporting units as shown in the slide, municipal and utility. The municipal budget is further subdivided into operating and capital budgets for the provisions of RM programs and services and allows for investment in priority infrastructure projects. Similarly, the utility budget is also subdivided into operating and capital budgets to ensure adequate dollars are in place to maintain reliable service delivery, self-sustainability, and resource investment in utility-related infrastructure projects. Public hearing objectives. The our objectives of this presentation is to provide everyone with a complete overview of the 2024 financial plan. The main objective of the public hearing is to inform residents on what is going on in the RM for 2024. So this presentation will be available on RM websites tomorrow. Next on the slide is the financial planning process. This picture looks like a wheel, and that is intentional. This process is a continuous process, starting off with departments preparing their preliminary budget based on their current programming needs. From there, information is compiled into one budget and one capital plan and adjusted by CAO and CFO as necessary. CAO and CFO then meet with the council to review budget on a line-by-line comparison against actual and budgets from last year's. Council's changes are brought forward into the revised budget. Sometimes a second review by the council is completed. After the revision of no changes are made, then CAO and CFO prepares the financial plan and the tax levy bylaw for first reading. Once first reading is passed, the public hearing notification procedures as laid out by the Manitoba Municipal Act occurs and presentation is developed. Any changes, comments resulting from this public hearing are incorporated into the financial plan and reviewed and approved by council. Final steps are adoption of the bylaw, giving second and third reading. The next on the slide is assessment and mill rate. So every year's council determines and set the mill rate based on the RM requirements of the fund. The mill rate can be determined by divided total municipal requirements by the total RM assessed portion assessed assessment by 1,000. And in order to come up with a value to determine the amount of taxes a property will pay, there are two factors to consider. The first is the number of dollars that are required by the municipality, which the municipality can control. And the second is the overall value of assessment in the municipality, which is determined by the province and regulated by the provincial assessors under the Municipal Assessment Act. And on that part, municipalities has no control. 2024 assessment. So reassessment years are done every 2 years. Last reassessment year was 2022, but the province has pushed this to 2023 due to the COVID. And the next reassessment year is 2025. Assessment values are currently based on 2020 and 2021 market values. So the assessment branch tried to find comparative sales in the area to come up with an assessment value. In 2024, the total assessment value of RM is 702 million, which is 5.05% more than the last year. This growth of 5.05% gives the RM an additional tax dollars of 235,000. So we are using the new assessment values when preparing 2024 financial plan. This slide is just to give you an idea as how the assessment has increased over the years. From 346 million in 2015 to 702 million in 2024, almost more than double in last 10 years. So keep in mind that assessment years occurred in even years like 2014, 16, 18, 20, 22, exception to this rule. He's in 2023 moved to due to the COVID-19. On the odd years, the assessment still increases, and this is due to new growth and development in the municipalities. So this slide is to give you an overall picture of breakdown of all property classes for 2023 versus 2024 annual assessment comparison. So there are 4 property classes: residential, agriculture, commercial, and others. There is 6.7% change over the last years in residential property class, but there is a slightly reduction in agriculture property class that possibly might be reclassifications to others property class by the province. The distribution of assessment from last years for these property classes are basically the residential portion is 66%, agriculture portion is 15%, commercial distribution portion is 14%, and other portion is 5%. So overall growth for this year is 5.05% as compared to last year. So the tax mill rate, basically the tax bill is split into 3 parts. The school division, the special levy is basically done by set by the school board, school divisions. Education support levy is set by the province, and the municipal levy is set by the council. So the council has only authority to set the municipal mill rate. So here is the first part of the tax bill, which is basically on the assessment portions. So this parcel is basically residential, and residential assessed on 45%. So this assessed portions, we use this assessed portions value for calculations of the tax dollars. So the next portion of the tax bill is about the municipal taxes and the school portion taxes. So on the school rebate, basically it has changed again. This year's residential property owners and the farm property owners are receiving 50% rebate of school taxes applied directly to their property tax notices. Other property owners will receive a 10% rebate of the total school division special levy and education support levy that will apply to their property tax notice as well. So in 2024, there will not be mailed out any separate check to the property owners by the province as it was done previously, previous couple of years. So the last portion of the tax bill is basically the summary portion. This shows the balance owing, net school division taxes, current taxes, and the due date. The RM Richard due date is basically October 31st, 2024. And I would like to say the RM is also allowing discount for early payment of taxes, and the discount rate is calculated at 1.5% for June and July payment and 1% for the August payment. This slide shows the school division's requirement. So this is basically a comparison of dollar being collected on behalf of the school division. There are 5 school divisions in the municipalities. In 2024, mill rates for all school divisions have increased between somewhere from 1 to 7%. So as I mentioned earlier, if even your assessment has not gone up this year's, you will see an increase in your school tax portion. Any questions related to the school portions, please direct them to the appropriate school division your roll number is. This slide shows 2024 tax collections. So the proposed tax collections for 2024 budget is 16.174 million. Of the total tax bill, only 39% goes to the municipal portions, and the rest 61% goes to the school division. So this slide shows the proposed municipal levy mill rate. Council always wanted to keep the same bottom line mill rate for 7.95. So you can see a little fluctuation in the mill rate by object, but at the end of the day, there is no change in the mill rate between 2023 and 2024, as it stays the same at 7.95. So the next on the agenda point is operating budget revenue. So the total municipal revenue, the proposed municipal revenue is 18.94 million, with no increase in the mill rate as compared to last year. This pie chart shows 3 components that make up municipal revenue. The municipal taxes is about 6.3 million, which is 33% of the total revenue. Other revenue sources, which is about 8.25 million, and which is 44% of the total municipal revenue. Transfer from reserves is basically for the funding capital projects, which is about 4.4 million and is 23% of the total municipal revenue portion. In this slide, you can see a nutshell of 33 to 40% municipal revenue is coming through direct taxation and rest from other sources, which we'll discuss in the next slide, which helps in maintaining the affordable mill rate for the taxpayer. So the total other revenue, the proposed other revenue for RM is 8.25 million. There are various options of alternative source of revenue for which administration always focused on while ensuring service level are maintained. These options could be revenue from assessment growth, tax additions, sales and user fees, government grants, license, permits, and other miscellaneous sources of revenues that really help a great to offset the overall property tax requirement. So the tax addition due to the assessment growth is basically includes revenue driven from new constructions and development activities within the municipality that incurred in previous years, including both residential and non-residential development. Permits, licensing, and fines includes in this category are revenue generated by issuing building permits, largely associated with new construction, business license, animal license, and fines issued by animal control officers or by law officer. Sales of services and goods included in this category are all fees charged for issuing tax certificates, subdivisions and development fees, recreation programs and facilities, rental lease spaces, and management of waste disposal site. Investment returns mostly includes the bank profits and penalties on late payment of the taxes. Development portions is basically the municipal portions of dedication fees only. The government grants include both conditional and unconditional grants from other levels of governments and must be used as directed by the granting authority. This slide shows the municipal reserve balance. The reserve funds are basically an important tool for the municipality's long-term financial sustainability and better plan and budget for the future. Setting money aside for unforeseen circumstances like floods or other natural disasters and for capital projects reduces the need for long-term borrowings or imposing sudden tax increases on current or future taxpayers. So RM Resort is maintaining various municipal reserves. So the total opening balance for these reserves is 7.45 million, whereas forecasted revenue for the year is 3.409 million, and the adjusted balance is 10.859 million. All forecasted revenue except for machinery and fire department reserves is coming from other revenue sources. The big amount of $2.5 million to general reserve is estimated to coming from GFL for disposal, grant contracting out, and one-time infrastructure grant money received from the province. Gas tax fund reserve is mostly funds received from the federal government based on population of the municipalities. In 2024, RM has budgeted around 392,000, same as last year, as a new agreement between province and federal is in progress to negotiate the new funding allocation. Besides the municipal revenue, the RM is also maintaining, this is the utility revenue portion. This slide shows the utility revenue portion, and the proposed utility revenue is 4.2 million. Today, utilities operations are facing more challenges, such as higher price inflations for maintenance and replacement of aging infrastructure, provision of new infrastructure, and ongoing effects of changing environmental standards. These challenges are putting significant upward pressure on utility rates. Long-term planning with minimal rate fluctuations are critical for the self-sustainability of utility operations. The council has no control over the setting of utility rates. It is Public Utilities Board who approves utility rates. You can see here, Resort Utility is getting about 1.25 million revenue from water consumer sales, including sewer service charges, developing fees of 878,000 shown in this slide is utility portion of dedication fees, which is being transferred to utility reserves for funding future capital projects. Grants usually from Manitoba Water Service Board and transfer from reserves are basically for funding to utility capital projects, mainly coming from Manitoba Water Service Board. Miscellaneous revenue categories included the penalty for late payment of utility bills, installations, and connection service fees. So this slide shows the Richard utility reserves balance. So RM Richard is also maintaining the utility reserves besides the municipal reserves. So here is the detail of reserve balance for utility, Richard utility. Effective January 1st, 2023, all utilities were amalgamated to one utility as per Public Utilities Board order. Therefore, now RM has only one combined reserve for utilities. So currently we have 2.6 million opening balance in our Richard utility reserve, and the forecasted revenue is 887,000, and whereas the adjusted balance is 3.5 million. The forecasted revenue to reserve is from utility portion of the development fees. The next agenda point on the slide is operating budget expenses. The proposed 2024 municipal operating budget, as shown by department, is 18.94 million, with no impact on mill rate by maintaining 7.95 mill rate, same as last year. The proposed operating budget addressed the needs of key service areas, maintain service delivery, and support projects that advance council priority areas. We will discuss one by one in the next slides. The proposed 2024 general government services budget is 1.7 million as shown on this slide, which is an increase of 9% from last year. The cost includes for municipal office operations, council and administrative officers, salaries portions, benefits, pensions, employment insurance, health and general insurance. Miscellaneous expenses for 3 daycares, 2 in St. Rudolph and 1 in Eldoshan. The increase in the general government services is due to increase in council and staff wages, 4% in non-CPP legislations, more than 10% increase in municipal and health insurance portion, and overall inflationary impacts on all other expenses. The proposed 2024 protective service budget is around 1.01 million, which is 13% increase from the last year, is due to allocations of budget line for hiring of an additional building inspectors for commercial properties. Protective service costs include to maintain 3 fire halls, EMO coordinators on the flood control side, expenses in enforcement of constructions bylaws, night patrolling services, and animal control services. The proposed 2024 transportations budget is 2.9 million, as shown in this slide, a 4% increase from last year. Public works programming needs is based on the changing seasons. Cost includes the operating of the public workshop, equipment and yard maintenance, road network, and purchase of materials, goods, supplies such as gas and oil for vehicles and equipment, sand, salt and gravel, chemicals and equipment, parts and inventories, telephone and utilities. The next on the slide is environmental health budget. The proposed environmental health budget is 803,000, which is 8% more than last year. The environmental health service costs include maintaining waste collection services and disposal sites, garbage and recycling collections, including curbside bulk collection. Our next collection day is on Saturday, June 1st and October 5th, please have items to your curbside by 8 a.m. on that day. This service is only available to all those currently receiving waste management services. Administers the Dutch LM program for the RM based on the cost recovery program from the province. Next on the slide is public health and environmental development budget. The proposed budget for public health and environment development is 19.5 thousand, no changes over the last year. So the public health cost includes social assistance and contribution to senior support, and environmental development cost includes the McDonald Richard planning districts expenses and monies for a review of the development plan bylaws. The proposed 2024 economic development budget is 678,000, a 32% increase in 2024. This increase is due to some extra money put in for business export to capture more economic opportunities for RM, hiring of efficiency educate through Manitoba Hydro Energy Efficiency Grant, and hiring of casual summer students. Also, EDO department is working on various projects, total for 245,000, mainly subject to the approval of the external grants. So other economic development services cost includes distractions of pests, weed control, watershed districts, and regional economic development officers, and staffing wages and other benefits. The proposed recreation budget for 2024 is 1.45 million, a 12% increase over last year, is mainly the inflation impact and also due to program expenses due to running various summer program initiatives by the recreation department. RM of Richard Recreation Department provides external services in the areas of culture, community, and social development, as well as recreation and parks. The Rec Department acts as the liaison for certain local boards, community groups, and other agencies. Through Recreation Department, RM is providing operating grants to community centers and halls and life cycle maintenance to arena, parks, and other recreation spaces. The proposed 2024 fiscal services budget is 6.92 million. The fiscal services include the tax discounts, debt debentures payments, and the capital projects. Transfer to reserves 2024 specific revenue transfer to the reserves is 3.46 million for 2024 financial plan. So this slide shows the RM debenture debt status. So the debenture is a type of business loan and most common form of long-term debt. Municipalities often issue debentures to raise money for its growth and funding large capital projects. RM Richard has currently 3 debentures on the books this year. One more will come off the books in 2026. Leaving a balance of 2 debentures to become off as per their expiry, resulting to increase RM's debt capacity. Then this slide shows the utility operating budget, and the proposed budget for utility operation is 4.22 million for 2024. The utility rates are the primary funding source for the utility operating budget to cover the cost for water and wastewater, to provide clean, safe drinking water to the residents, as well as protect the natural environment through wastewater treatment. The next item on the agenda is the capital budgeting with funding sources. The capital budget with funding sources for 2024. This includes municipal and utility capital projects and is split similarly to the expenditures by department responsible. The main purpose of capital budget is provision of investment in infrastructure and capital assets such as constructing, upgrading, buying, or maintaining assets, including land improvements, buildings, roads and bridges, sidewalks, vehicles, equipment, and utility infrastructure. The capital budgeting is important for upgrading and maintaining of critical existing infrastructure and the future growth of the municipality. The proposed 2024 capital budget for general government services is 1.75 million as shown in the slide. There are 7 capital projects in general government capital project. So we always look for shovel-ready projects that are funded by other levels of government so that the burden is not placed on our ratepayers. Municipal office expansion and civic site projects were originally started in 2022, maximum work done in 2023, and the remaining portion of the work is going to be completed in this year. Due to the expansion in the office and staff as well, funds for purchase of more workstations allocated in the current budget. Car sharing, electric vehicle charging station, and EDO strategy are all economic development projects. Further details on these projects can be obtained by contacting our economic development officers during the regular office hours. The proposed 2024 capital budget for protective services is 107,000 for 5 projects as shown in this slide. The proposed capital budget for equipment and machinery is 328,000 for a total of 7 projects as shown in this slide. The proposed expenditures for acquiring or improving new or existing equipment and machinery and items which substantially increase the estimated useful and service lives of existing equipment and machinery. The proposed capital budget for main projects for the transportation services is 3.74 million. Includes 8 capital projects as shown in this slide, focusing on upgrading, maintaining, and or replacing existing RM infrastructure, which are important for the community growth. In 2024, RM has received 573,000 from the province as one-time grants funding under a rural strategic infrastructure basket. This funding source helped us to undertake 2 big projects of the road construction as shown in this slide. The proposed capital budget for recreation services is 533,000, includes 7 capital projects as listed in this slide. In 2024, Council has allocated 1.96 million for capital projects of resource utilities. There are 6 capital projects included in 2024 proposed utility capital budget, focusing on upgrading, maintaining, and or replacing existing utility infrastructure to better address the community needs and growth as shown in this slide. 50% funding sources for 3 main projects is coming from Manitoba Water Service Board for utility capital projects. So here is the status of municipal reserve balance after consuming capital expenditures for the year. So the adjusted balance for municipal reserve balance is 10.859 million. The proposed capital expenditures for this year is 4.38 million, leaving a balance, closing balance of 6.47 million in municipal reserves. So the utility reserves balance status after capital project expenditure. So the adjusted balance for utility reserve balance is 3.5 million, whereas the capital project expenditures for this year is 1.127 million, leaving a closing balance of 2.385 million. So with that, I have almost done my part of presentation. Thank you very much for attending and having with us. So I know I would request Mitch to please join the closing session of this.
Thank you, Mohammed. So there you go. That is the 2024 financial plan as presented by our CFO. As he indicated earlier, the presentation will be made available on our website as of tomorrow morning, April 18th. Again, reminder, property taxes are due on or before 4:30 on Monday, the 31st of October. And of course, if you do not like your assessment values on your property or wish to review those numbers, we please do so with the Department of Assessment, Provincial Assessment, and the 2024 Board of Revision is slated for October 9th of this year. Again, thank you for your time. If there are any comments or questions, please let us know. If not, thank you for your time this evening and look forward to the projects ahead of us in 2024. Thank you.